Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The time is 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. It is Moon Day, the day of the moon ruled by the beautiful Orisha mother Yemoja. And welcome to the second interview of the 7-part series. Now, yesterday, we had the honor of speaking with Oluwo Obafemi. That was good. The topic was Obatala and the gospel. Now, the power of that voice, along with some technology, has some echoes in his voice, but he still gives very good wisdom. But this is a part of building something organically. You have to roll with the punches, take the good with the bad, and the name of the game is keep going. As those of us in Ifa Orisha culture keep going, as we strive to live in Iwapele, I have taken the things that the world and the universe and life's lessons have given me and formed a radio station, 222.9 The Mothership, your mystic haven on the airwaves. It preserves the genius of classic black music. It reveals how our people were speaking these sacred sciences the whole time. We've never been slaves. We've always been innovators, teachers, creators, mystic, solar returned scientists. This just bobs and weave it with the everyday groove to let you know that our people have been saying it the whole time. And it's our generation, our place and time to take it to another level. So night two, well, this is actually night one because Yemoja is Monday, Moon Day, first day of the week. Yesterday was 7, Obatala in the Gospel. The last shall be first. So tonight is actually part one of the part 7 interview series. I have a wonderful priestess to speak to bring us in with the Yemoja priestess energy because you see, I too am Iyalosha, but I'm a priestess of Oya. So this shows some unity between the mother energies, how we can interact with each other because all Orisha are forces of nature who all work together. So we're showing how these Orishas work together just in our sharing this time and space. So thank you for joining us. Now, before we start with the Orisha, we always give thanks and praises to those who have walked the road of life before us. Those people are our ancestors. So I'm going to pour a libation, a quick libation. Because we are not quite in each other's presences physically, we can't quite hear each other when we call the names of our ancestors who live in Eray. So if you will, I'm going to take a moment to pour some libations. I'm going to meditate on ancestors who lived in Eray. And if you will, just type the name of your ancestor in the comment section so that we can still honor our ancestors in cyber world. Ready? Okay. Pour some water here. You always want to pour your libation over some type of plant because the earth holds the ancestors' wisdom. Omi tutu, ona tutu, ile tutu. That means refresh my head, refresh my home, refresh my road. I pour libation for all of our ancestors who lived in Eray, who upheld the divine laws, who showed us what the struggles and the beauties of divinity are. Ashe, Ashe, Asheo. As I pour this, meditate on your ancestors, and if you would like, type their names in the comment section. Ashe, Ashe. Asheo. 222.9, the Mothership, has 9 distinguished ancestors, and one in which I will highlight. She was a queen mother in the Third Ward community, and she was the first to put a glass of water in my hands to pour libation. Her name is Queen Mother Ayana Ade. Take a look.
Bringing in the Spirit. Birth is a sacred family event. International Center for Traditional Childhood, and the list goes on. Queen Mother Ayana Ade made her return from Orun to IEA on Tuesday, March 13, 1951. It was the third decan of Pisces season, where Neptune and Mars meet. Her life path number was a 5, as she was a woman that represented the spirit from all 5 points, all 5 elements: earth, wind, water, fire, spirit. Releasing into all that she could be, into the fullness of herself to be all that she could be for others. The moon was waxing in Gemini, bringing a Mercury-infused twist to her planetary alignment. She was a woman of the mutable waters. It's plain to see as she spent her life guiding others on their journey from heaven to earth through the waters of birth. And the African way of the stars, she returned in the season of the family. Queen Mother Ayana Ade was one of the first examples of the divine feminine in the guise of a spiritual activist. She even birthed my very first libation at a Carl Hampton commemoration. It was 2011, and we were in the Golden Gate Cemetery in Houston, Texas. For those that are learning of Orisha, the cemetery is the main home of Oya. I would later learn 6 years later that Oya was my select head, but in this moment 6 years prior, she was dropping some serious clues that day as I was just skipping around the cemetery, reading the gravestones of the ones who called out to me. I didn't know why I was so interested in visiting old graves. It just naturally came to me. I was unaware that Queen Mother Ayana Ade was watching me. I had no idea that she was watching me until it was time to begin the ceremony to call Hampton. She stepped in front of all that gathered and greeted the crowd. She then turned to me with a glass of water in her hand and asked me, "Would you like to come up and pour your libations, young sister?" The interesting thing was her lips were asking, but her eyes were not. It's a maternal thing. In her mastery as an educator, she gave me the hands-on experience of libation. And that's how indigenous children learn. We learn by doing. And because of Queen Mother Ayana Ade, my first libation ever poured was to a freedom fighter. More than a decade later, I am still pouring libations. Queen Mother Ayana Ade returned to Orun from IEA on Thursday, May 23, 2013. It was the first decan of Gemini season and Mercury was rising. The moon was waxing again in Scorpio. Between Neptune, the mother planet of divine compassion, and 2 waxing moons, Queen Mother Ayana Ade's essence saturated into divine mother energy, through and through, from beginning to end. And the African way of the stars, Queen Mother Ayana Ade returned to Orun in the season of the market. The day vibrated on a number 7, the number of divine completion. 222.9, the Mothership honors Ayana Ade as a distinguished ancestor. And why not? Her life provided a fine example of the miracles and simply doing the work of spirit. And hers was as a spiritual activist, a midwife, and a divine feminine mother. Ashe.
And we're back. Oh, let me turn my camera a little bit. Here we go. And tonight's guest of honor is an Iyalosha of the priestess Yemoja. She is the founder of the nonprofit, The Hood. HOOD stands for something, though. Helping our own daily. And here on 222.9, the Mothership, I recognize my sister Iya as the one who completed my series of 7. She was the completing factor, the energy of completion. She saved my life, y'all, just so you know. So without further ado, I would like to welcome and say thank you. And everyone open your hearts and your spirits to receive a lot of Yemoja wisdom from none other than Iyalosha Damilola. How are you this evening?
I'm well. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, the first place I want to start is at what point did you become aware of Yemoja energy? I want to know about your practical connection with Yemoja. That everyday living stuff.
That's a good question. I think that I've always been this nurturing spirit with you. It just not have always been identified as Yamaja. In many ways, as you know, being when it comes to the universal languages, many languages, that's the way that I connected with Yamaja. Always having that mother in that big that big energy walking with how out in nature, the environment, my surroundings. I feel that's how I walk into that giving and always been about. So that's how I walk. For sure.
Ashe. So when you got crowned, did you feel that? How did you feel when you got crowned, Yemoja?
You want to know the story?
As much as you're willing to give.
Okay, so well, first of all, I just in my training, even before I came or of Yemoja, as well as I was always with mindset that I had to give up. I have my one hand and I wanted to complete my hand and my day. So part of the process of being initiated, I also received a and I wasn't necessarily in one job. A lot of different things happened where at the end of the day, that's going on, a lot of different outcomes, unexpected things come up. And for me, I was messing but Yemoja let me. But Yemoja came through it. You are my child, and I was Yemoja worked out all the arrangements, everything, how went through, and it was beyond my own.
Yes.
I didn't necessarily seek after initiation. I didn't necessarily seek after being crowned by income. It was more of me involved in the practices, the knowledge of God, and that brought me to the knowledge of ownership. So that's primarily for a very short story.
Ashe. I first met Yemoja when I went to the caravan to the ancestors in 2010. And I remember just standing there at the beach. It was this entire just sea of black people dressed in white. It was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. And I remember just staring as far out to the horizon as I could take my eyes. And I was like, wow, I'm so very small in this world. but the water felt very nurturing. And that was my first encounter with the essence of Yemoja.
Sure.
I want to know something. As a woman and as a priestess, how did you deal with the patriarchal rules of spiritual belief? I say that because one of the things that I wrestled with a lot in my journey, especially before getting crowned, was embracing the concept that God is just as much a woman as God is a man. What are your thoughts on that?
Most definitely, I feel that we all have our strengths, especially as women. We all have our. I think that the most important thing, the most imperative is that you know your role,
Mhm.
you know your position, your calling, you know your purpose.
Yes.
Knowing that that's what keeps you from being distracted by the egos and hidden agendas and so forth. In many ways, when you ask that question, that was most definitely a question that I just came back from Oakland. It was a question that we petitioned to some elders with.
Uh-huh.
Eventually,
So Iya, can you lean in some? Can
want
you
me to
lean
lean
in
in?
some so I can hear you better? Yes.
Can you hear me now?
A lot better. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, that was a question that we had just petitioned to some elder ears, and I was really feeding from their energy because it was giving me a lot to understand, just in my own processes. And then at the end of it all, I came to the conclusion of understanding that nothing's new under the sun.
Right.
And as I've gone through my things and I'm going through certain things, they have also gone through and still go through as long as they're here. I feel that what gives us balance is understanding how at one point we did have power.
Mm-hmm.
This was for matriarchal society.
Yes.
And within that improper use of power, that's how we lost it.
Exactly. Oh my God. You just keep going.
So, my belief is that Ifa and the ancestors, it sends us through these experiences of extreme in order to find the balance.
Yes.
So, as at one point in a position of power as a matriarch, and I lost power by the use of it, as we see our men today, as we see those who hold those
Yes.
positions today. So
Yes.
I find balance within it all because my teachings from my elders and from my gurus as a Christian was always in the middle. So within that, we have to understand all things through our perspective. So that's something that I've learned in being in this whole Ifa community and whatnot.
Absolutely. Now you pull, it's funny, like this energy's connecting because you just hit on the next point that was on the list when we were talking when you yes, you hit something when you mentioned the improper use of feminine power. And the exact same thing is happening today. You know, I really want our sisters to over, under, enter, and around understand that emasculating men does not empower us as women. It's actually the ultimate weakness. I want to know your, in my opinion, I want to know your thoughts on that.
Absolutely. Even beyond Ifa, I just remember being a child and growing up with my father and how he would watch me and my brother. I'm a baby girl of, you know, four brothers. And my father would tell me, you know, just because you have the trump card doesn't mean you always have to pull it.
Right.
Just because you know the trigger, just because you know the weakness, just because you know the Achilles, you don't have to pull it. Sometimes you have to move strategically with wisdom and allow your power to be maybe even seen as passive, but yet still present
Mm-hmm.
in order to really have an impact. And those words really have stuck with me throughout my whole time in understanding and dealing with men, particularly within our community, particularly in coming up in a time and age where we understand that the term Yemoja is not even something that's really familiar in a lot of ways.
Right.
In many ways, it's something that's more new. So I feel like you have to understand the proper balance of power, and the balance of power is the balance of both masculine and feminine energy in all of us. It's not about pro-feminist, pro-patriarch, pro-anything. It's about pro-life.
Yes.
And to have both the masculine and feminine energy in order to exist. So in many ways, Yemoja has given me that gift and that love to nurture me back to the place where I felt that I had to be harder in instances where I wasn't heard,
Right.
where men were predominantly the ones who were speaking. And then understand that my power never rested with being heard by these people, or being understood by these people, or just who I'm here to be. It's so many things you can go into the conversation.
Oh yes, because picking up from taking a page from yesterday's Obatala in the Gospel, there's a scripture in one of those Bible books that says a silent woman is a blessing. And I'm like, well, if that be so, then why did the Most High give her lips to speak?
Sure.
But stuff like that get you put out. Get you in trouble. Get you in a little trouble. And I'm feeling like the return of the mothers, because this is definitely the age of the woman rise.
Sure.
I really how do I put this? It pains me when I see the rage and the wrath of my sisters and the imbalanced side of female empowerment, per se. I believe that many of them don't know that they're carrying the wrath of their female ancestors. That's something I really believe, because as my Orisha crown being Oya, I'm very connected to ancestor energy by nature. It's Tuesday. I remember being out somewhere, and I mean, my baby sister, she went AWOL on this man. Do you understand me? I mean, she let all the fur fly. She let the cuckoo all the way out the clock. Okay? So I'm standing there watching her, but as I'm watching her, I don't just see her. I see her mother's broken heart. I see her grandmother's rage after she poured her all in all into a man that didn't treat her right. It was like I saw all of them and not just her. You ever notice when some of our sisters, when you hear them scream at the top of their lungs, it always sounds like 2 or 3 people?
Absolutely.
And that's why I feel so honored to sit with you and talk with you and share, time and space this evening, because, I read on your website that you use the things that you've learned to help women find balance. And I just want to ask, your thoughts first. Your thoughts.
My thoughts, in many ways, as I was before about this energy and this masculine as well as this feminine, and having the balance with it. In many ways, have the balance is to experience the contrary. How can we know peace and chaos? How can we love unless we know fear?
Right.
So many aspects. My personal opinion.
Okay.
I look who are extreme in their emotions. In many ways that masculine traits.
Mm-hmm.
And embodying very masculine traits.
Yes.
And when we look at men who are extreme in their emotions. In many ways, it leads to embody many feminine traits.
Mm-hmm.
What we would say, oh, that woman is a bulldog, or that man is a. All right.
Right.
So, in many ways, this is how the energy within itself shows that there is no way to have one without the other.
Mm-hmm.
And in many ways, that hurt little girl is not just hurt from a feminine aspect, but she's also hurt from a masculine aspect. And it's shown out in many ways through her femininity. Because we as women, we are expected to embody this femininity to show it at all times.
Right.
We're supposed to be domestic. We're supposed to be this. We're supposed to be
soft,
that.
submissive,
and this and that, and all of these things. We're supposed to. But in many ways, if we've never had that example of what that is to be or how to do that, whether that came from our mother, having a positive male role model within our environment to show us how to be submissive.
Mm-hmm.
It gives us an imbalance. It gives us an imbalance. So within many ways, I don't see this just being something that a feminine issue. I feel like it's a human issue.
Okay.
Something that we need to come into terms within ourselves, of balancing our masculine and our feminine energy within ourselves. Feeling that little girl that was loved by her mother. Feeling that little girl that was attention by her father.
Right.
Feeling that person who wasn't validated their peers, whether it be through their same-sex peers or opposite peers. However, that translates. We have to find the balance. And I don't really like to put too many stamps or titles or I don't like to put many many titles on these things, because in a lot of ways we're trying when we can't have one without the other. We just can't have one without the other. So if we want to speak of feminine hurt, we have to speak of that masculine hurt. We have to speak of that because we need our men to be strong to lead us, just as we need ourselves to be able to bear the weight that comes and falls down on their leadership role.
Absolutely. That's good stuff. That's good. Would you say that Yemoja is the most key Orisha in emotional healing?
That's a good question.
Because she's the water, the ocean. She's also a river. And we're all made up of water. What do we do when our emotions are full? We shed water.
Absolutely.
Even not to be vulgar, but even when we're procreating, there's a lot of water involved in that.
It should be. So what I would say is that Yemoja and her mother, how she's represented through motherhood and that divine femininity of just motherhood and what that brings. I feel that that's what allows us to see Yemoja in that light. But for me, I don't really separate the water. Because the ocean that allows us to have our river. It's the ocean that allows us to have our rain.
Yes.
In all ways, the waters are intertwined. I can't do without ocean. I can't do without Yamaja. So I don't really like to, what I like to call quote unquote Orisha gangbang. I don't really get in about queen, mother, this, that. We are all the queen.
Right.
Without one, we cannot have the other. It takes to transfer energy that one goes from death to rebirth. And when God tells the station to be able to give birth, it's the creation of the birth.
Yes.
So how can we do without the other? One cause a problem for the next. So that's really how I see it. Now, Yemoja's energy really represents between nurture and energy. Most definitely, she is the mother. She is the mother of all the people. She is the one that allows us to heal. As water is what we utilize to gain purity, or to gain purification, or healing, and things of that nature. But there's there's a lot of fierce aspects of water too. That's why when I look at water, and when I look at the moon, and how all these things correlate between both masculine and feminine, what I'm talking about, of how to have the balance within so. And I can only speak from that way because as I am Yemoja, is our So our speaks of that balance, the masculine and the feminine. Speaks of Oshumare and Boa, who is smells. So that whole aspect of balance is what Yemoja brings to us. And it's not just so much balance so that we do, but it's also balance so that we move obstacles so that we can heal. So it has to be sports just as well as it has to be a common nurture.
Yes.
So this is how
I love it. I love it. And it's funny because the Orisha Yemoja, what am I trying to say? The oral tradition, or something I received orally about Yemoja, is that she's the one who's the most patient out of the female Orishas. But when she loses it,
it's a wrap.
Kind of like Titanic. Bumped the ice cube and swallowed the boat.
Most definitely.
So tell us more about some of the work that you're doing.
Currently right now, well, first of all, I'll always the lifetime student. I'm always going to be a student.
I love that humility.
About relation between what we know, tradition, and what we have here within connect missing puzzle pieces, for the lack of a better word. Whether it be dialogue, acting, culture, and what we have here. So that's what we're making forever of the founder Orisha, and that way. Other things that I'm working on myself. I love to work and with young people, especially those who are disadvantaged. So I'm adding opportunities for them for better advancement in academics, as well as in learning tradition and culture. And then also I've traveled a lot, and I go there teaching doing ceremonies and rituals for people who receive any power or different things of that nature. Along with some teachings that the tradition that new people come along, they're not just giving these info and don't know what to do with. So primarily kind of help in the basics of these fundamentals of these understanding not just so much what that tradition, but how translate what that myself, their own personal practice.
Ashe. Yes. I love it. I really do. So let's talk about Yemoja and music. Because here on the Mothership, Yemoja owns Mondays, because Monday is ruled by the moon, and the whole musical rotation on Moon Day is dedicated to Yemoja. So that's where you have your Patti LaBelle's, your Aretha Franklin's, your, you can feel at home just by turning on that record. What Gladys Knight, there are some Aretha Franklin songs that I listen to and I can smell Sunday dinner just listening to the song and hearing her voice. So what are some of the singers that of that time that you feel like carry that Yemoja, that nurturing energy in music.
Oh my gosh. Music. Um, classic
Classic
music.
music.
Well, like you were saying,
Aretha,
Anna,
Anna,
Minnie
Riperton.
Riperton. I mean,
Oh yes, I have her on Fridays.
come on, coming closer to my age, Erica, Jill Scott. I like timeless music. I like
Me
music that
too.
hits my soul, like literally. When I'm listening to it, I'm getting inspired. And I feel like women who make music like that, even going back to Mother Jackson, Shirley Caesar, I'll take it way
Oh
back.
yes. All of them in rotation. All of them.
Absolutely. So, yeah, music is a part of my source of inspiration and nourishment, most definitely. So when I think about old school music, it's too many people that I can go through. I'm listening to you, and I'm trying to questions here.
Yes.
Definitely. Those songs that it doesn't matter. It whether it's 1997 or whether this is 2027. That song is gonna speak to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the type of music that I'm talking about. That life, absolutely.
Okay, well then you would like the songs that I had playing on your stories then, because I had the flyer post up with the song behind it. The first one I did for you was Aretha Franklin, Bridge Over Troubled Water. And the one I did for this morning's promo was Patti LaBelle, Old People.
Okay.
And so I'm like, yes, I knew something was up with my vibration spiritually when music started changing and I couldn't get with it. Because I had started doing radio in 2004. Oh, wow. And, old school Fridays were my thing. I would ditch class to come to sound check early because the old school music was serious business. But when music started getting more robotic, I don't understand a lot of this new music. I can't. And I had people saying things to me like, well, you got to get current and your music leaving you behind. And I'm like, no, I just couldn't go to that next level of music because when I was a little girl, I didn't listen to anything that was born around the time I was. And it was just something about that nurturing energy and the way those women of those times carried themselves. They weren't just mothers of music, they were mothers of our society, if that makes sense. So I gotta ask, do you have a favorite or can you not choose? Who's your favorite old school female singer?
A favorite?
I can't choose.
I would say I can't choose. I like to listen to. So my father, actual record. So my father collected a lot of them, and I have a lot of. So sometimes I sit back. My answer. I still choose. I cannot. Because when I moved to the first, I was sitting Diana Rose. Talking about, so definitely. I'll find a song for some people. People know me, they know me. That's I'll find a song for
yes.
Through song, most definitely.
Oh, absolutely. And that was the reason why I saw fit to preserve that music, because that music is definitely needed in today's time. Like, I remember when I was a little girl, Aretha Franklin got me in trouble. Have to stay after class and clean a board when you talking too much. And all the other girls in class were singing a little In Vogue, hold on to your love. I'm over on mine talking about, you no good, heartbreaker, you a liar, and you a cheat. And the teacher like, come here, sing something else. Okay, chain.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? That's Aretha Franklin. And she's looking at me like, what do you know about an Aretha or a Franklin? And all the other little girls was like, my grandma listened to that music. And it's just interesting when I look at these women and I read their stories, and I chose them for the Yemoja category because the whole station is run on planetary alignment and days of the Orisha. And I chose those women for Yemoja's rotation because they weren't just mothers in music, they were mothers all the way across the board. You know, many interviews as Aretha Franklin's done, you've never seen her act a fool. Patti LaBelle has given people the business so sweetly, you never see her get out of her mother character. And especially with Patti LaBelle, I love how Patti LaBelle takes time to sing hooks for rappers. You know, like when she was working with Outkast, and I think she did a hook. She sang a hook on someone else's, Kanye West, Roses. Mm-hmm. You know, for her to, there was another thing Patti LaBelle did that I felt was so motherly and beautiful. It was a time when, you know, the singer Ashanti was out, and there was some kind of problem or some kind of petition where they didn't want Ashanti to receive a certain award. I think it was a Soul Train Music Award or something. And Patti LaBelle got wind of it, and she said, give the award to me. I'm getting on a plane and I'm coming to give her the award. Sure. You know? And it's like, I put those women in the category of Yemoja, like the great mother of music, not just because they're mothers of music, but I appreciated the vulnerability of their music, and they just really exuded natural female divinity. If that makes sense. Do you know of any singers now that may compare to them in their older, when they get to be in that regal age? Because I think they're never before, never again.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I like that for my Lulu because it tells us that you know there's never before.
Right.
This time. Yeah, I mean, when you characterize, I don't really know. I don't really know artists out like that.
Mm-hmm.
But when I think about and just how simple, I'm kind of feeling
Jasmine Sullivan.
We love Lauren Hill.
Oh yes.
You know, Erica.
Leela James.
Leela James.
Do not leave out Leela James.
Most definitely.
Have you heard her rendition of Simply Beautiful by Al Green?
No, I haven't.
It's going to be on tonight at 10 o'clock.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, when I think about vocally, I don't know about how.
Oh, Layla Hathaway.
I said Layla. Yes.
Yes.
You got to get Layla. Definitely.
So is it just me, or do you feel the presence of different Orishas when you hear different songs?
Oh, yes. Absolutely. I go process this now. I'm always Orisha with all the times that I'm feeling a certain way. I can Orisha that I particularly I have and you know you find confidence all. There are times my music fluctuates, and I know I'm more like when you say that your day is a day of issue. That's literally the day that I know that I'm feeling more, and I'm listening. I don't listen on a regular basis at all. But when I am listening, I know the mood that I'm in. Most definitely translated to information. Most definitely.
He started it. This whole thing. Issue. All of this. Issue of dog. All day.
Open the way. Always. So definitely, like I said, to me, spirit speaks to me through music. So in many ways, I can listen to a song in the midst of the reading, the song comes to me, and I begin to chant that song to that person. And it's more about the concept, message with that song more than just the song itself. So most definitely, I feel that the kindness comes through all aspects, whether it comes through the form of verbal, written, song, literature, whatever it comes, art.
Yes, absolutely. It all comes from the divine and is given to us to be put into the world for others to see it. And it's like the mothership is kind of a reminder of how much of that energy was already there. We were the ones that had it to shift and listen again. You see what I'm saying? Let's talk about Yamaja and the moon cycles. Now I'm gonna be quiet and just let you take that one.
Okay. Well, Yemoja and moon cycles, of course, that has a great chord to us as women and those who are monthly. And then also another aspect of how the different cycles of the moon, how they relate to our earthly experience here, from all the way down infancy, new moon, and our youth and adolescence, the full moon, the conception or full maturation itself.
Yes.
So we know that the moon translation as with our the femininity is there. Yeah, I'll leave it there. I have some things that go through in my mind, but I just want to see what they do before I go there. But most definitely, the moon and the cycles of the moon and how we relate our feminine cycles, but not just in myself, as this moon shed, so does every new moon, so does every new beginning, so does every experience as well.
Yes.
Each month to expand, to grow, as to let go.
Yes.
So we see all of those things most definitely.
Yes. His waxing fool.
Yemoja is a feminine energy, and some of the fundamentals with God, we know just in that overview, looking at the cosmology speaks about creation, and how things come into existence based on this aspect and expansion, and how the darkness is the contraction, and the light of the illumination is expansion. So within that, as we look at Yemoja as the moon is very principle. What it is, it still holds this aspect that goes back to the having these balances within feminine energy. Because if we look at fundamentally, what we believe the illumination that moon. That would be, and the moon within itself, how it fits in day and night.
Yes.
It's the balance.
Like I would like to. Yes.
That's what gives us that balance.
Ashe. Yes. Does that also touch on the Lukumi Pataki that Obatala and Yemoja are married, the sun and the moon? Absolutely. Because I like to call the moon just the sun wearing a veil.
Ashe.
So with that explained, how do we deal with this darkness is negative and evil saying that's just being flown around society? All this don't go outside at night, and the nighttime this and the nighttime that, and the darkness this, and well, you don't get one without the other one. Because the sun actually rests for the moon to get started when you look at the alignment of the 7 days of the week. Because the sun is the seventh day. The moon is the first day. Then it goes into the drive of Mars, then elevates to Mercury, expands in Jupiter, sweetens on Venus, goes to the crossroad on Saturday. You see what I'm saying? So, yes, what are your thoughts on that? The correlation with that Pataki and that level of mysticism? Because for me, it's like it's kind of hidden in plain sight.
But all of the mystical in plain sight.
Mm-hmm.
They're truly in plain sight. They're right in front of our face. The distraction of what we prioritize over, reality causes us to do that. But that's a good question that you asked. I am one who actually holds the taboo that I speak about past certain time. And one thing I know, I will never tell anyone to take your taboos. Most of your taboos to live your life. It's best that you get a better understanding of why you possess taboos.
Right.
Because many our taboos are not just the notes, but they are our power.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This is where our power lies. And as you learn more about your taboos, you learn that eat your taboo, go against your taboo, anyway, the blessing, the way you're living.
Exactly.
I would never tell you your taboos, like for instance, as I have a taboo where I can't be out past. Now, on a very surface level, I feel like this is back because I just got out and speak. And maybe this is why I got jokes.
Yes.
Maybe like yourself in the house now. But to go more deeper than all, it most definitely has an aspect to me.
Oh yes.
My mothers. And also the aspect of oneself and being a channel. And being able to filter a lot of energy. So when we talk about specific times where a lot of different energies show themselves, it is a certain night out. Now, I don't utilize my taboo to foster fear because I'm most definitely against that. I don't get into fear. I think it paused. Or maybe I can keep talking. I don't know. Oh, I think I'm still on.
Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
Ooh, we now return to our regularly scheduled program. Technology, don't you love it?
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, we don't want to tell people not to mind their taboos, of course. I was just making more of a general statement.
Right. Generally, like you were saying, you can't have stuff out there. We need being in it. Lightness, contraction, and there is no manifesting out to. We need the friction in order to be able to manifest. Even in a very we need friction in order to manifest.
Absolutely.
So, I feel like sometimes people like they bring dogma, and because sometimes it's hard to teach you ways to think outside of the way we're talking about.
Okay.
If that makes sense. The way that I teach, I have a lot of passion. My background comes from the church. I was a minister. A lot of things transcend and correlate here. So I may come off. Oh, when you read, I sound like a pastor. Well, in many
I
ways,
wasn't gonna say anything, but you do have that evangelist set.
Yeah, that's my background. So in many ways, it's hard for us to catch those things. But when we talk about religion, you know, and outside of religion, we talk about being rigid. It's important that we don't allow us to any type of dogma or you know that keeps us stuck in way. Because Ifá most definitely tells us that where there is no way that
Yes.
we have to have an understanding. So I feel like the best thing to do is really have a clear understanding of why certain things and where people are coming from when they tell us, you know, what lenses is life through. Viewing things in life, the fear, doubt, worry, anxiety, whatever. You know, or is there no? There's a difference. Someone who thinks with fear, someone of no limit. There's a difference. So
Yes.
I just feel that people just think. You know, don't let anybody weigh your free God-given myths. Common sense. And the only way to is to be a thinker.
I
Be logical and not to allow
Marisa and me. Yes.
inner head to guide our head, emotions to overrule our life. So you know, just your brain. That's the only thing that I can say.
Do you believe that being well? Let me approach this question this way, because you just flowed right into my next question. That wave just flowed right on in there. What are some common misconceptions of Yemoja?
It's so many conceptions of Yamaja. Everybody loves to, you know. I'm gonna say this. I feel like say it again.
No, please repeat that part again, please. Say it again.
A lot of people like to say that Yamaja is bossy, and you know. I don't necessarily agree with that.
but of course not.
You know, sometimes we just see the best. So, you know, well, one of the most common misconceptions of Yemoja and kind of like all the feminine Orisha is that they're all just love and beautiful and Yemoja's just so nerdy. Yemoja is overgiver. So she's very she can also flood. Yemoja also doubt. Yemoja also a lot of extension. So when we get these Orishas, you have to understand that this is we possess that quote unquote positive, negative, positive or masculine, feminine, or dark and light. So do all the Orishas. Every Orisha has this aspect of ferocity, fury. And most definitely has that aspect. Yemoja is not always a love giver, the nurturer. Sometimes that's economic. Sometimes it's up and you know change shit up. Sometimes Yemoja is tough love rather than just
yes.
Sometimes Yemoja says better as down. So
Yemoja is also the spanking.
Yemoja is also the spanking. So you know, and that's all you know. So sometimes we always just want beauty of Orisha, and not understanding that everything that encompasses the good, the bad, the ugly, is what creates beauty of Orisha. Most definitely.
The perfection and imperfection.
Ashe.
Yes. So we're down to about the last minute of tonight's interview. I want to say thank you again so very much, because again, you were the one that completed this series. The whole 7 couldn't have happened without you. I really appreciate it. Ashe to your Ori, Ashe to your Orisha head, Ashe to your ancestors, Kiki Mashe to your teachers. And I just want to know, do you have any last thoughts you would like to share that you would like for people to know about you, about Yemoja, about just any last thing you would like to share?
I really appreciate this experience. Most definitely. I appreciate being in this platform. So I want to say thank you most definitely for
Thank you.
allotting my time in this sacred space. To anyone find themselves or just interested in learning more about African traditional spirituality. The one thing I just want to say outside of learning about it is the most important focus upon your ancestors. And focus on your own higher consciousness, your own
Ashe.
purpose for why you and that itself will lead you along to all of the other paths that you embark upon. Take your time, don't rush. Anyone who rushes, they're not going to full experience of what your spirit has for. And it will be most difficult to truly embody the things that comes to bring to them. So take your time, or we can come to us love, joy, experience, wisdom, bliss, art, all this good stuff. Or we should come to give that to us. Father comes to give us and wisdom along with that. So just give that. Thanks to the blessings of our ancestors, allowing us to see new expression of how it's being expanded within the many of where shape has most definitely impressed positive energy. So understand that you're manifest positive energy.
Ashe. Thank you so much, and we will be in touch soon. This will not be your last trip aboard the Mothership. Ashe. This is Ayansa JT Muse signing off. You have just been watching one of the 7-part Orisha interview series, because on Tuesday, 222-2022, the Mothership celebrates 1 year on the airwaves. This is actually part 1 of a part 7 interview series. So make sure you tune in each and every moon day to get your Yamaja energy, to get your mothers of song, to get yourself emotionally aligned to deal with the rest of the week. I'm my Ayansa JT Muse signing off. Back to the groove.